Hello everyone, I'm Cecilia and I'm here with Carina Fragozo. Okay, Carina has a master's degree in linguistics. She's an English teacher and she's also a PhD student of linguistics. Okay, her academic interests include phonetics, phonology, and second language acquisition. But also, Carina has an amazing YouTube channel which over 200,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thanks, Carina, for having this interview with me.
Well, thanks, Cecilia. It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me here. And hello, everyone.
Okay, Carina, tell us more about your background and experience as a teacher. Are you currently teaching?
Well, actually, I'm only teaching online now because I taken the PhD degree, as you said, and I had to make a decision. It was too much for me, like to keep teaching language schools and having the YouTube channel. So I decided to keep the YouTube channel because it's something that really makes me happy. But I used to teach. Actually, I've been a teacher for over 10 years.
Okay.
I started when I was really young. I was 18. And I taught English in language schools, one-to-one classes too, and also regular schools to high school students.
Okay, and why did you decide to become a teacher? That's a genuine curiosity. So why did you decide?
Well, I think I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I didn't know what I wanted to teach. I at the beginning I thought I would be a Portuguese teacher because I didn't know English, so I had no idea I would become an English teacher. And also because my older sister, she's a teacher too, so she inspired me a lot because I saw her reading and studying about English and everything. So I thought, wow, that's something I would like to do too.
She was a role model.
Role model for me.
Great.
And I've always liked the school world, school stuff and everything. So this is something I really like. And now I'm studying to be a researcher too, of course. But I also want to teach English. But I also want to teach at universities. I want to be a professor. That's why I'm taking the PhD degree. Because I noticed that I was more curious about the processes involved in second language acquisition. So I wasn't curious only about English anymore, but also about the linguistic processes involved during the acquisition.
All right, and how did you come up with the idea of the blog itself, and the YouTube channel later on, right?
Yeah.
You started with the blog first, and then.
Yeah. You're right. I started with a blog called English in Brazil in 2011. So I started right after I finished my master's degree because I was feeling like I had nothing to do. I was like, what should I research now? So I started sharing some lesson plans and things that you usually do nowadays too.
Yeah, with the blog.
I started the same way. But then I also started sharing some English tips because, for example, I didn't know a word. So I researched that word and I wrote a post about that word or expression to memorize and to share with the world.
Right.
After 2 years or almost 3 years, I decided to make my first video. It was like five tips to improve your English. Because lots of people were asking me for tips, they wanted tips to improve their English. They said, well, I can't learn English, so what should I do? So I said, well, let me talk to these people, let me read for myself here and share the things that I used to do and that helped me.
To become a better learner, right?
Yeah, that's it. And then I remember that in the first week, I had 1,000 views. And
That's amazing.
I thought, wow, it's a lot. So I thought, wow, it's not only, I don't have 1,000 ex-students and I don't have 1,000 friends. So these are people that found me on the internet. So I felt that there was a potential. And then I kept making some videos, like once a month. But then it's been like a year or 2 years, no, a year and a half, I think, that I started to really take it seriously because now I have an audience. I have people who expect a lot from me.
Yeah.
They expect new videos and new tips.
How often do you post videos now?
At least once a week. That's what I try. Yeah, because I don't have anybody to help me, you know?
You do everything by yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
And it's great work.
Oh,
it's great work with editing and writing the notes. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Great. And how do you create your videos? I mean, how do you come up with ideas for topics? For example, do you grab a grammar book and go to the content page, or do you watch other videos, or do your viewers give you suggestions? How do you go about them?
Well, I think it's a little bit of everything. I like sharing things useful things. I mean, I don't focus a lot on grammar on my channel because, well, you can find it in grammar books and you can find it in traditional courses. So I like teaching pronunciation, for example, which is something I really like because I study phonetics and phonology. So I like to apply that in class so they learn, but I make it easier. I don't use like the formal terms. You know, I try to make it easy for them. And I also like to teach like the degrees of formality of some expressions.
That's very helpful.
Yeah, because sometimes we don't know that. We see in books, we read in books, but sometimes we can't judge where we should use that or when.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I'm not a native speaker, so I usually have somebody help me.
Mm-hmm.
So, I will post a video next week. It's about 5 words that we learn in school, we learn at school, and we learn in books, but Americans don't say.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, prefer. This is a word that I usually use.
Yeah.
But
so do I. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about British. This native speaker, he's North American, and he said that nobody
says that. They would say, I'd rather do that. Yeah. I was teaching my student, my beginner student, the other day, teaching the verb go, and he said, "Let's go." And I told him exactly what you said. Like, let's go. If you say let's go to someone, you are rushing them. This is not very polite, you know. So be careful when you say let's go, because depending on the context, you may be inviting someone to do something, right? Let's go to the movies, okay. But if you just say let's go, you might come across a bit rude. So I think this is really important, the levels of politeness and formality, yeah, which is a big thing in English. And I think especially Brazilian students, Brazilian learners, they might not know how to defer the uses, right?
So, for example, if you ask what, in Brazil it's okay if you translate "que," it's fine. But if you say "what" in English,
very rude. That's very rude. Yeah. Yes.
I think something
absolutely.
This is the kind of thing that I like sharing.
And do you write a script for your videos, or do you improvise a little bit, or a bit of both?
A bit of both. Yeah.
Okay.
I do write a script, but it's not a script, a whole script with everything written. No, I have the topics there, and I have the examples too. It's something that I didn't do in the past, but now I started doing. It makes my life easier to edit later.
Yeah.
So I have the examples there, so when I record the video, it's much easier. But I do improvise a lot. Yeah, I do.
Great. And what's your favorite and least favorite video? If there is one.
Yeah, well, actually there is a least favorite video. It's one of my first videos. It's about 5 things you shouldn't do to learn English. The idea is great. The content is good, but I don't like the way I'm speaking that video because I sound like I'm reading. You know?
Oh, I see.
and I'm like, hello, I'm not spontaneous, you know. I don't like that. And I didn't have the right equipment that time, so I I didn't have a microphone, so I really don't like that video, but it has about 200,000 views.
That's impressive. Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
And not many thumbs down. So people like it.
People liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. But so I will leave it there. And I think my favorite videos are the ones I record with friends or guests. So one of my favorite videos is one that I recorded with Amigo Gringo.
Okay.
His name is Seth Kugel. And it's fun because I just interviewed him about his process, his process of learning Portuguese. So it's the contrary. He's not learning English, Portuguese, and it's fun. And I also like another one with Gavin. He also has a channel called Small Advantages, and we had a competition, a slang competition. So he taught me American slang, and I taught American slang. So,
oh, cool.
And another one that I like, I have more favorite videos than least favorite videos. And another favorite video that I have is one that I teach the vowel system of English. So the phonemes is something very, very linguistic. So it's something that I like.
That's great. And I imagine that you receive lots of comments from teachers, from other teachers, right? And what kind of comments are they? Do you get many comments from them, first of all? And do they have like do they respond well to your videos?
Well, yes, I have lots of teachers following my channel. It wasn't my intention at the beginning, but it just happened. And many of them write me very nice comments like, wow, good job. I'm using your videos in my classes. I'm sharing this video with my students. So this is something amazing. This is really amazing.
Rewarding, yeah?
Yeah, rewarding. That's the word. That's the word. So I think they like it.
That's great. And yeah, you've mentioned you've had guests before. Yeah, different guests. How do you choose them? Do you write to them? Do you follow them? Yeah, how do you choose them?
Both. So sometimes sometimes they write, they send me an email. So I'm following your channel, so I think I could contribute with this topic. So we make a video together. And sometimes I follow a nice channel, and then I write them. So I would love to record a video with you. So, and then we just do it. It's something very natural. It's not something that I'm planning, you know. It's something that happens. I had a very nice video with another teacher. His name is Rodrigo Honorato, and he researched a lot about Black English. So this is something that I don't know very much. So I know that there is this type of English, but I don't think I am the best person to talk about it. But then I had him in my channel on my channel, and he shared a lot about this topic, and it was amazing. I really like it. So I like inviting people who know more about a topic that I don't know. So this is what I try to do.
That's great. And your field of study is phonetics and phonology, right? So as a teacher and as a researcher, do you think that English teachers, should incorporate the teaching of phonetics, for instance, the teaching of phonemic symbols in their practice? What do you think about it?
Well, I think it depends on the teacher. Okay, it's the teacher's choice. I think teachers should know that. I really think but I really think that knowing articulatory phonetics, for example, if you teach your students a sound that doesn't exist in Portuguese, like the TH sound. Okay, I know everybody talked about this sound, but it's an easy example. So we have the th. If you teach your students that there is a right position of the tongue, so some of them are one of these sounds is voiced. Feel this is voiced, this is unvoiced. I think it helps, and the phonemic symbols I also think they help because they helped me when I was learning English, because there is a relation between perception and production when you learn a second language. So in order to produce the sound correctly, you have to notice the sound. So sometimes we just don't notice. We don't see that
Exactly.
man is different from man.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't hear the difference. So if you teach, well, this sound, your tongue is in that position. Okay, it's a little bit lower. And that one, it's a little bit higher. And this sound is this symbol, okay? And this sound is that symbol, right? And then the student will be much more independent to check the pronunciation of words, because sometimes we don't notice when we hear. So we have to check somewhere there. So, let me check on Google Translator. Okay, you'll listen to that word, but your brain will judge that word the way it wants.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to check some way, somehow,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. You have to check somehow. So I think it helps.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, you have to teach it communicatively, not only, let's have a class about the phonemic symbols. I think it will be boring for your students. But I really think you can start introducing it. They will feel much more independent in the future.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's talk about accents, right? Do you think that one should get rid of the accents, of their accents, for instance, a student? And do you think it's necessary to get rid of your accent when you're studying English?
Well, everybody has an accent. So native speakers have their accent, and non-native speakers will have another type of accent. But it's totally normal. So I don't think you should get rid of your accent unless you really want to. Because some people really want to belong to that community. They don't want to sound like foreigner.
A foreigner.
And it's okay. But I should say that it's really hard to get rid 100% of your accent, to get 100% rid of your accent, because there are some subtle things that will tell the listener that you're not from that region or you're not from that country. So, for example, I'll give you examples. If you think about the vowel system in English, okay, we are the advanced students, and we pay attention to these stressed positions. So we know that cat is not cat. So we say cat. But we're Brazilians, and we don't have the schwa sound in our unstressed syllables. So it's very hard for us as Portuguese speakers to get rid of our full vowels in unstressed positions. So we tend to say above instead of above, even though we know we should say above.
Above, yeah.
Yeah, we know that. But sometimes when you're not paying attention to the way you're speaking, you just say above.
Yeah, and love. Love, yeah. Love is another classical, yeah? Classical example, like love. I tell my students love.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to grasp. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And something, and I think vowels are the hardest part of learning a foreign language, and also the rhythm and intonation. So Portuguese has a very specific rhythm. So if a Brazilian says, eu gosto de beber cerveja, eu gosto de beber cerveja, it's this way.
Of the ups and downs, yeah?
Yeah. And then if an North American person would say, eu gosto de beber cerveja, it's much different because it has lots of schwa sounds there. It's much faster. You don't have that variation. So your intonation will tell that you're not a native speaker, probably.
And it's okay, right? And it's totally fine. Yeah.
You're learning Czech, you said.
I am learning Czech, and that's what my Czech teacher told me, that that I'm improving my pronunciation in Czech, but I really cannot get rid of my intonation, especially when I'm making a sentence, and he tells me, Cecilia, you have a good pronunciation, not perfect, good, but you kind of sing a little bit when you are saying a sentence, because of the Portuguese, of course, because my teacher speaks Portuguese, so he can tell the difference. But it's really, really hard. I get really disappointed for that. But I know it's something that maybe I would just have to accept, that I'll speak that way. That's okay. If people can understand me and we can establish communication, that's okay.
That's the point. So I don't want to have a very strong accent or a pronunciation full of errors. because this can be bad for communication. So I don't want people, I don't want my listener to be like all the time, sorry, what did you say? What did you say? I want to communicate naturally. So even though I have a good pronunciation, at least I think so in English, okay? I think so because I studied that, but I still have an accent in it, and it's not a problem at all, at least not for me. And I think that learners shouldn't be too worried about having an accent, because sometimes this makes them feel demotivated. They think, well, no, I won't speak as a native speaker. Come on, nobody. It's very hard. It's like, it's rare. It's rare.
It is.
So why should we be so worried about that?
Definitely, yeah, I agree. Okay, Carina, thank you so much for this lovely interview. It was great to talk to you. Okay, and
thank you very much. It was really nice, and congratulations on your blog.
Thank you.
Nice. And I will be waiting for new interviews.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll leave the links on the blog post. Okay, and okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for listening to our conversation.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.